So I've had this like running joke for a few years now. Of course, I've been asked and just generally seen around the question a lot. What if they add X plane to GTA Online? You know, what if they had the F-15? What if they had the F-22? Blah, 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 blah. The joke was, the guy who worked on Smuggler's Run, the guy who put love and care and dedication to making a wide variety of unique aircraft with their own strengths, weaknesses, and playstyles. When Rockstar found out that Smuggler's Run aircraft were actually fun and actually very well balanced for the game environment, he was dragged out to the back of the Take-Two headquarters and Epstein to the back of the head 3 times. The evidence being that clearly whoever worked on the Smuggler's Run aircraft did not work on the B-11 because they tried so hard to make a close air support aircraft. They made an aircraft that ground players give the secondary title of the Flying Coffin and dogfighters give the primary title of the best dogfighter in the game. So the moral of the joke is I really hope that they never add another plane to the game because it's going to be somehow worse than the B-11. 5 years later, the punchline to that joke has come in the form of the fucking Ford F-160 Raiju.
It's actually called America. We're going shark mouth. Alright. This is horrifying. This is genuinely the most horrifying thing ever for me right now. Because we're about to find out. Gentlemen, am I outdated? Is it over? It is over. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. Oh god, dude. It's so maneuverable. Look, I appreciate that you guys like this thing aesthetically. But, okay. This is bad. This is really bad. Because there's no reason to use any other aircraft in the game now. This piece of shit. Yes, it's horrible. It's exceptionally maneuverable. Fuck you, bastard.
Why is the Raiju so bad? Well, the thing is, it's already going to be kind of hard to explain why the Raiju's bad because it's hard to tell what aircraft are bad right now because aircraft as a whole are just kind of bad right now. I mean, yay, they nerfed the laser and the Hydra, but they kind of have already balanced the sandbox around needing them, and now they're just gone, so there's this weird lack of need to fly planes. It seems like the way that Rockstar wants you to play now is to drive around in night sharks and agency cars and just railgun things, because that's kind of the answer if someone gets a jet now. And because the laser and the Hydra aren't a hard kill for pretty much 90% of what people use now, nobody really takes off in those things, so there's no reason to get a plane that's good at killing them anymore. But let's wind back. How is the Raiju so problematic? Well, it's because it's ridiculously overpowered. And to understand why it's so ridiculously overpowered, let's go back to the B-11, an aircraft that is currently being widely regarded as the best counter to the Raiju. See, when Smuggler's Run guy decided to add the Pyro and the Starling and make them the best dogfighters in the game, he also kind of realized, hey, maybe I should lower their DPS because every aircraft should have good and bad traits that balance each other out. So they turn very, very well, but they're not very good at dishing out damage, so it still gives other aircraft opportunity. I can outturn you a million times, but if you're in a laser, it only takes you one shot to kill me. The problem is that the B11 has no such weakness. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is able to turn competitively with the Starling and the Pyro in the right or even wrong hands.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can just speed control, can't you?
We gonna find
I'm
out.
not a dog fighter, gotcha.
We gonna find out. We gonna find out.
You can't lose to the Starling, bro.
And it simultaneously is extremely resistant to their primary dogfighting weapons, and with 1 or 2 shots will pretty much disable their engine. So why don't you probably know this? Why isn't this a widely known thing? Well, because free mode is a very different environment from a one-on-one dogfight. Since they tried to make the B11 so easy to handle at low altitude, they made it awful to use at low altitude because it is ridiculously slow. Being slow means several things. The slower you are, the harder it is to dodge missiles, to not get hit by E-rounds, because it's very easy to line up that tail snipe, and it makes you a lot less susceptible to hit and run attacks or even just off the radar planes. So, all in all, the B11 was never really a huge problem. It still has weaknesses like being big and slow and sluggish, so even with potentially inferior aircraft that are worse in some ways, you can still be creative, like hit and running with a rogue because you're faster than it. Sandbox, kids. Okay, so let's remember everything we learned about the B11 that makes it kind of an overpowered dogfighter and a little bit unbalanced at its tier in terms of just 1v1s. Well, what if we took away all of its weaknesses? What if the B11 could outturn you, out DPS you, and could take all of your MG shots and could outrun you? And now it can go off the radar all the time, except when it's going to shoot at you, which is when it's already on your tail. I know a lot of players also think that it's not very maneuverable, but let me show you the skill curve for learning how to turn with it. See, you see the right trigger on your controller? I want you to look at the right trigger on your controller. Okay, let go. Now turn. It's a little different, huh? To be fair, it may not be the absolute best turn fighter. It's kind of hard to say right now because people are still learning its unique speed control, but the point is kind of moot because A, because it is so good in every other category, it has no right being this competitive at all in a turn fight. It shouldn't even be up here with the B11. And B, I'm sure you guys have noticed that it has the easiest VTOL to use ever. See, the VTOL maneuvers have actually been a thing since 2013 with the Hydra. Do you know why that's never really been a big deal despite the fact that it is incredibly effective? Because it's hard and you have to learn it. But the VTOL for the Raiju is so incredibly forgiving that you can pull off the same level of tricks probably just by tapping the left stick, which is weird. I don't know why they moved it from the D-pad. They could have just given it the Alkanos stealth, and that also would have been a little bit better balanced, because if you fly, I'm not going to side tangent into this. The point is, not only is it very maneuverable, but it has sliding now, which is very, very easy to use, so it's even more maneuverable. And it doesn't even need to be maneuverable because now it can hit and run you off the radar, do enough damage to potentially kill your engine in a few shots, and can easily escape you even if you try and punish it because it outruns everything again. Lads and lasses, this thing needs a fucking rework, and I don't think it's gonna get it because, Rockstar kind of has bigger fish to fry right now. And I could easily tell you how this thing needs to be reworked. You know, it needs to be reliant on its stealth if it's going to have that stealth. I don't really see that as a big problem, or even the cannons. Yeah, it should be effective at hit and run, but it shouldn't just be able to outrun missiles. If the pilot screws up, there needs to be consequences. They can't just be able to fly away without almost any repercussion. And the VTOL can stay. I mean, as a last-ditch Hydra sliding effort to be able to dogfight, that sounds cool, but it shouldn't be able to turn with the planes, even without the VTOL. And even with the VTOL, it shouldn't have the acceleration and ease of use to just be able to basically UFO. It needs to be built off of momentum. If you want to feel like what balanced VTOL maneuvers look like, it is literally the Hydra. All this thing really needs to be is a Hydra that can go off the radar, maybe has a little bit worse and better in different categories, and just has the same explosive cannon. Yeah, so what does this mean for the game? I mean, really, what is the grander context? Why am I making a big deal about this? I know it sounds like I'm being really mopey and whiny, oh, it's an overpowered jet, but okay. Pretty much every interesting meta in this game has been just slowly degraded over time, and the only thing that was left that was really cool was planes. If you want to get into aircraft, you have to find one that has strengths and weaknesses for you to learn, as I've said many, many times. That's why I like making videos on each aircraft, because they are all unique and they're all fun to talk about. But there was also the added layer of there is a reason. If we go back to the Laser is one of my favorite aircraft because it is a great entry level. It is the easiest, simplest pick that everybody will use, but it is not overpowered. In a dogfight, it is a complete jack of all trades. So, you have a base aircraft that everybody wants to try, but if you decide to venture outward to learn a new plane, you will be rewarded for it, because when you learn the strengths of the aircraft, you will find something stronger than the laser in a category. You will find your playstyle and you will form a connection to the game. And so while the laser was always there for you to enjoy and for you to use as a base level, you were encouraged to explore because you'd get more out of it. That is now gone, because not only is there the fact that, again, aircraft are kind of irrelevant now, but even if you decide to get into dogfighting or just air to air, there is just one aircraft that's easier and better than everything else, so there's no incentive to try anything new. And to only add to it is the absolute horrid Dunning-Kruger effect of the community of the game. The Dunning-Kruger effect essentially being the less informed you are about a topic, the stronger your opinion might be because you don't have enough information to challenge your already existing opinion. It's a weird thing to put into words, but it applies very strongly to the game, and the fact that there is no real outcry. Everybody just thinks the Raiju's cool. Don't get me wrong, the Raiju looks amazing. It's really fun to fly, but at the same time, it's just damaging everything, like many things that have been added to the game. They look cool, they look flashy, but at the end of the day, they are hurting the game. But the average player is never really encouraged to deeply get into the game, and so the wide variety of players have no ability to comprehend what is actually hurting the game, and they just cheer on what looks cool. But until then, there's always the small sect of players that always give me hope. And it's the players that are constantly faced with the fact that the game that they actually love, the deeper group of people who have actually formed a connection with GT Online, when they are faced with Rockstar and Take-Two degrading the game, they see nothing but challenge. God mode jets, snipe them out. God mode players, drop a fucking tank on them. Mark II, learn to use a Deluxo. It is the sect of players that understand two things. One, what actual skill means, to actually master something and to face difficulty and overcome it. And two, to have fun. So, to wrap it up, and to finally complete this angry schizo rant of a video, in the skies of GT Online, all the noobs and all the annoying redditors are now flying around in an aircraft that is slowly destroying the meta of the one thing I love in this game. Not in real. But on the flip side, you got the exact kind of player I hate in the exact kind of vehicle I hate. One that is pretty much God mode, that is extremely difficult to take on, and pretty much every kill is like the most satisfying thing ever. So, as with every update that tries to break this game, the people that already love it are just gonna fight harder. So, while those of us that aren't shark card cattle are faced with more and more bullshit, what else is new? At least we got something to take it out on, right? And I, after this fucking plane came out, probably stayed awake for 3 days straight, had frankly enough caffeine to kill an elephant, and was listening to a lot of Linkin Park. So at this point, I'm just kind of feeling, how's about total Raiju death? 306,502,203 dead Raijus. Fuck it, kill them all. To oblivion, and to the next update that ruins this game even more. Enjoy yourselves even in the chaos. I will catch you guys on the flip side, and I have some F-35s go kill.
drop the hand of God on those fucking Iraqis! Stay in your formation! Yeah! Fowler, get... Are they supposed to come back? Get in formation!